Welcome to the Car Sim and Race Driver Show, presented by Hugh Hattrick. Drive fast and try not to crash. It's not every day that Jackie Stewart visits your hometown, but on Thursday the 29th of August, Jackie Stewart did just that. He visited Duns, the Scottish borders, to open the new Jim Clark Motorsport Museum, along with Alan McNish, Gordon Shannon and many other special guests. It really was a fantastic day. Welcome to the Car Sim and Race Driver Show. Well, we're here for the opening of the Jim Clark Museum, which is officially being opened by Jackie Stewart, and he's just walked in, and we'll show the video as you'll see a bit earlier on the introduction. But it's a fantastic day here. We've met lots of people like Andrew Cowan, Alan McNish,
Gordon Shedden,
Gordon Shedden, and of course Jackie Stewart himself, looking rather well. So get ready for more exciting news on the Car Sim and Race Driver Show. Welcome to the Car Sim and Race Driver Show, and this time we've got a lovely, relaxed kind of living room atmosphere with my special guest, Jonathan Sutherland.
Hello Hugh, how's it going today?
Very good, very good. I thought we'd try a new format to see how it goes. So we've turned around my living room to see exactly how we can get enough light and to make sure the video turns out properly.
Exactly.
So here we are. But today it's the big topic of the moment, which is the opening of the Jim Clark Motorsport Museum in Duns, which was just on Thursday there, and Jonathan and I were both there. I thought we would talk about that because you got some fantastic pictures. You actually got to meet Jackie Stewart as well.
Some great footage, yeah. I managed to shake Jackie's hand, but it was just a great event, really. But Hugh knows a little bit more about how it all came to be and when the room started and eventually became the museum, so he'll maybe explain that.
Yeah, well, it was over 50 years ago, after the tragic death of Jim Clark in 1968, that Jackie Stewart opened. There was this room put together, and Jackie Stewart opened it over 50 years ago. And then about 25 years ago, when the room was done up, he reopened it again, and they had the big kind of do for it all. But this time, it's no longer just a room; it's an entire building, along with a gallery with cars. And it's really, really first class. They spent about £1.6 million developing it. And we were there at the opening, the official launch. They had some lovely Lotus Elans outside that were Jim Clark's favourite cars. It was his cars that he had both in Britain and the one when he was a tax exile in France. So we got a chance to see them. And then obviously the Lotus Cortina that's inside, and one of his Lotus 49 cars as well. And I'm going to put in the footage so you'll see some of the pictures as we're talking later on of the cars and the atmosphere of the entire event. And it really was pretty good. I mean, we saw so many legends. You know, with people like Andrew Cowan, Alan McNish.
Alan McNish, absolutely. Gordon Shedden came along, and also the people behind the rise to fame of Jim Clark. Ian Scott Watson, who was the sort of spotter here at the Border Reivers Club back in the 60s, I guess, probably late 50s as well, who spotted Jim Clark's talent and pushed him all through. But amazingly impressed with the museum. I mean, from being really just a front room, really, which was, it actually was called the Jim Clark Trophy Room initially. It's now a proper museum, you really would say that. And key thing is that you've got space for 2, possibly 3 cars in the showroom, so or in the museum show area, and that obviously allows people to donate cars on loan. So at the minute, as Hugh was saying, Dario Franchitti drove his Lotus Cortina down here, and that's in there, and I think a Type 25 was it, and a simulator at the moment. But instead of the simulator, you could easily have another car in that space.
Yeah, and I've had a go in the simulator. You didn't quite manage to have a go, but we did have one very eerie moment when watching a person in the simulator who looked remarkably like Jim Clark. Same kind of hairstyle, same, the face was incredibly similar. I'll put a photo on the video later on for you, because that was really quite incredible actually.
It was bizarre.
Yeah, how similar he was in terms of looks and even height and everything about it.
I don't know if he was a relation of Jim Clark, either from one of his sisters or something, but yeah, the familiarity was striking. He was wearing contemporary clothes, but if he was wearing clothes from the 60s era, then it would be even more eerie, just how familiar it was to see him sitting in that Lotus car.
Pretending to do very badly.
Pretended to, yes, exactly. I'm not sure the racing genes went. The looks certainly did.
But no, it was a fantastic event, and there was nearly 200 people invited to get into that, which was fantastic. There was also people like Eric Bryce, who was Jim Clark's personal photographer, and I'll show you some of the pictures from his book that I got recently. Really, and very, very interesting chap, and we got some great pictures of him taking photographs of Jackie Stewart and the cutout of Jim Clark and Douglas Niven.
Yes.
And then you got a picture of him doing all of that.
That's
so
right.
We were photographing a photographer who is such an incredible. I mean, think to see what Eric Bryce has seen over these years. But he's someone who won't be interviewed. He will not do an interview. So, but it was quite interesting that we had a chance to have a quick chat with him and obviously watch him do his work, which was good. And we were right next to the ITV cameraman as well.
We certainly were. While Jackie Stewart was doing his interview outside, we were right there in camera shots, listening to what he had to say, which is very interesting. It seems he had a lot to do with the museum, the design, the layout of it, and also the materials that we use. He had quite a big say on that. I don't know whether, presumably he may have given some money towards it, we don't know that. But he's obviously known for his attention to detail and precision, and the choice of materials was just to his liking. And in fact, when you're in the museum, you really can see the attention to detail on not just the quality of the building, but also the exhibitions is incredibly high.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, he gave almost a talk for about half an hour when he was out there, and I thought Stewart McFarlane, who was the interviewer, did extremely well and asked very, very good questions. So all credit to him and to Jackie Stewart for just giving us his time and to be able to really kind of go in such detail of his friendship with Jim Clark. And really, I mean, you could see that he had a huge respect for him and learned so much from Jim Clark, and then went on to win 3 world titles. But it still amazes me that, someone from the borders there, kind of such an impact, and to this day is regarded as one of the best in the world. I mean, Ayrton Senna came to visit him, in 1991, I think it was. So it was, it's amazing just how much of an impact one driver can make. He was a very reserved person, and when I saw his cutout when I was standing next to it in the museum, it made me think he probably wouldn't have wanted all
the attention.
It was kind of
that's right.
But I suppose this is what happens nowadays. But I think it does plant a lot of interest, especially in young people, because they see, well, this is what this chap did. And I think now Duns has a real opportunity to grow with its motorsport heritage. We have not just the Jim Clark Museum, we've got the Jim Clark Bistro and Cafe. I'm sure there'll be room for a simulator centre, is what I would like to bring in.
Yes, and if you had his own way, there'd be the Jim Clark racetrack, which would be a version of Charter Hall, if you could get his hands on that, and maybe a few £1 billion if anyone wants to put a PayPal donation into Hugh. I'm sure he'd get that built within the next decade.
If anything, everyone's watching from Shell or something like that. Never mind about those environmental investments. This is much, much better.
Yeah, Formula E, that's environmental.
Yeah, they would definitely come.
Yeah.
But no, it's been, and since the opening, there's been some phenomenal cars. It was, I think it was a Jaguar D-Type, I think, that came, or it was a special racing Jaguar. It's been on social media, simply worth £12 million.
That was up after the
that was yesterday. It was a kind of white one.
Wow.
They put it outside the bistro in Duns.
Well, some of those original, is it the XKS or something? I remember Jaguar rebuilt a few of them, but the originals are worth an absolute fortune.
Yeah, a stunning car. But what it's doing for the town is fantastic. Because I mean, now we've had over 5,000 visitors, and it's only been open for about 6-7 weeks, and they've already hit a good bit of their target and more. Well, their overall yearly target, I think, is around about 20,000. But at this rate, they might well get more than half of that before they close, because I think it's open until I think the end of October, November time.
Okay.
So it's got a good bit to go yet, and people keep coming, which is fantastic. So we do recommend it. It's a great trip up to Duns, and then over the years we'll see how we can develop and see if we can get some more motor racing activities for people to do when they actually get here. Well,
that's the thing. I mean, one of the things we were talking about with various people, some of the mechanics and Eric Bryce, was that there aren't the tracks around here anymore. I think whether that's to do with the value of land, whether people are more offended by the noise, or just the environmental reasons with motor racing, or maybe it's just all the regulation, the safety requirements of tracks, which just didn't exist perhaps 50, 60, 70 years ago. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was much more dangerous back then. But just the fact that you can't have tracks these days. The Winfield track and Charter Hall were small race tracks. I don't know who owned them, maybe just local farmers who tarmacked them, and people would race. And they attracted people all over the world to race, actually. But now, to get them up to the regulations for the FIA and the Motorsports Authority Association, it might just be far too expensive. I don't know the reasons, but I suspect that's why.
Yeah, I mean, you need a lot of investment behind you to do it. They reckon just to actually do a new Formula One racetrack, in terms of just building the tarmac and the track, is over £60 million.
Just laying the tarmac.
Laying the tarmac.
That's
which is a fair bit of money.
Was that the contractors that did HS2?
No, they're the ones that do all the F1. So I don't know about it.
They need to look at their contracts again. I think.
But I mean, when you think about it, that could be up to 3 miles long or whatever.
Yeah.
But then it's proper. It's all got the right width. It's got the runoff. It's got all
drainage
the things that they
and
need.
the quality of tarmac. Yeah. And the costs are phenomenal.
Yeah, if you want to build a pit lane, and a kind of, they always have kind of offices and all the kind of stuff that they need above a pit lane. That's about another £60 million just for that. But then they're pretty big buildings, and then obviously you've got other things that you need, like a medical centre and stuff like that. That's all there. But yeah, when you think about Knock Hill, you just do the opposite. Sorry, but knowing that it has improved over the years, but it's got a wee bit to go. I mean, that's obviously, I was at Silverstone in May this year, and the facilities there now are incredible. I mean, they've really spent a huge amount of money getting that up to standard. It's like when you go to Jerez, you think, how on earth could they have hosted a Grand Prix at Jerez? There were hardly any facilities at all. It was pretty basic.
Yeah.
I mean, you were very close to the action, that's for sure. But there were hardly any grandstands. It was only really on the pit straight.
But you don't need grandstands in Jerez. It's sunny down there.
And it's mountainous. So
and also you've got the banks. People can just sit on the banks, and people will come if it's cheap. And people can sit on a bank side for sort of 5 or 10 euros. I'd go if I could see the racing.
Yeah, and you've got a motorway that goes straight to it.
And the motorway nearby is an airport within a mile. So it works. It does work quite well at Jerez.
It's pretty good, but yeah. So we've had an exciting few days, and looking forward to what's going to come up next, because they're going to be changing the Jim Clark room every so often with new cars, changing it over, new pictures. Of course, as we say, the simulator. This is the car sim and race driver show after all. We do recommend that you have a go in the simulator. I had a go, and I got black flagged on all my laps.
Oh, that's a surprise.
So, so yeah, I was taking simply too much curb.
I just had a Stewart inquiry in a simulator session. Only Hattrick can do that.
Yeah, that's a special skill. It takes a long time to earn that kind of lack of capability. But yes, so it's going to be fun. I'm definitely going to go back up there. Now, it normally costs about £5 for an adult, or you can get a family ticket. I think it's about £14 or £17. It's a wee bit cheaper than buying it separately. And if you get a ticket, it lasts for the whole year. So you can come back as many times as you want within the year, which is good. So it's definitely worth coming along and having a look at that. But we're about to watch the Formula One Grand Prix from Belgium. It's just early afternoon here, and we're about to see the start in about half an hour's time. And of course, we were the tragic news yesterday of the death of the Formula 2 driver, French driver Antoine Hubert, who tragically was involved in a terrible accident just past Eau Rouge and was killed. And it was also another driver was injured. So we're just really paying our respects. It's a tragic time when these things happen, and it does show how dangerous Formula 2 is, and motor racing in general. But I'm trying to remember the name. I need to get the name, actually. I'll put that in. Of the chap who was injured but is recovering and is in a stable condition. So you reckon he will make a full recovery, which is important. But yes, it was quite a spectacular crash. I mean, it was very, very quick and very, very fast, and obviously these things, when they go wrong, it can be a kind of freak incident that causes it. But we don't really know all the details yet as to what happened. But our thoughts and prayers are with the family and friends, and also all the team members of the Renault team and the team that he was involved with there at Spa today. And hopefully it will be a good Formula 1 race, and they'll obviously be paying their respects. They did cancel the today's Formula 2's race because of obviously what had happened, but the Formula 3 race went ahead, and obviously Formula 1 is going ahead with Leclerc on pole position, Vettel second, and Hamilton third, and Bottas fourth. So it's going to be very interesting to see, because they reckon that the race pace will be quite a lot closer, because it was about 6-7 tenths of an advantage that the Ferrari had in qualifying, but they don't think they'll have that. And of course, it's a much cooler day.
So you think the Mercedes will catch up with them during the race?
I think it will be
race back on the race tyres,
and also the weather, because it's an awful lot cooler. So it might well be that the Mercedes might run a bit better. You just never know.
Because Mercedes, Ferrari rather, are doing much better on power, I believe, at the minute.
Yes,
more
that's
power
the thing.
little engine.
And their car is going to set up for Belgium and for Monza, and so the Italians have done 2 races out of 20.
Right.
Won't win them a championship, but it might get they might win in front of their home crowd.
They won't get lynched when when they're going back home from Monza.
So yeah, so it's going to be but I have to say, I mean, I don't know how many races you've seen this year. I've watched all of them, and certainly since kind of Austria, there've been some really very, very good races. Like Silverstone was a classic. Great win for Hamilton. Germany was good. Great win for Verstappen. Hungary was brilliant.
Yeah, just France really was very boring.
Yeah, France was poor.
The track, I think, has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I have to say I'm not a big fan.
But it has generally been a very good year for the racing. So we're certainly looking forward to watching the race in half an hour or so. And I'm sure Hugh will give you his take on it, or maybe Andrew will join you at some point to run through the Silverstone.
Well, we're going to also
Spa.
Yeah, we're going to have an interview with Stuart McFarlane later on in the week, and he was the chap who actually interviewed Jackie Stewart, so that will be an exclusive, because he was the one asking the questions and of course getting all the answers, and it'll be a unique insight into how the day went for him. So it's not quite Murray Walker, but it's not far away, because Stuart's fantastic. He's been working for Radio Borders for many years, and he's very, very, very well qualified as an interviewer and radio host. So we'll have him later on in the week. But now that I'm sure for all our viewers and listeners who love our shows, remember you need to listen to our shows on Podcoin, because it actually pays you to listen to podcasts. Not just to this one, but to any podcast at all.
That's the only way you do it.
Yeah, exactly. You may as well get paid if you're going to listen to our kind of our conversation for long enough. But yes, make sure you use Podcoin. It pays you for the amount of time you listen. And if you use the link in the description, you'll get even more bonus points for listening to our show and signing up with them. It's completely free, and you can just listen to as many or as few podcasts as you want, but you will get actually paid for doing so. So it's fantastic on Podcoin. Definitely recommend them. And remember, we have our video channel, which of course is the Car Sim and Race Driver Show under Hugh Hattrick on YouTube. And also we've got Hattrick's Orlando Holiday Guide. And we've got the Cardio Advisor Show. So we've got 3 YouTube channels. Please like, share and subscribe. And of course we've got 3 podcasts, which is Cardio Advisor, the Hattrick's Orlando Holiday Guide, and of course this one that you're listening to right now, the Car Sim and Race Driver Show. But we'll be right back in a few seconds.
Cool.
Yeah, man. That's all we need this day, yeah.
Have I tap that?
Here we have Jackie Stewart, a 3-time world champion, speaking to Andrew Cowan, an amazing rally driver who won the London to Sydney rally many times, and an incredible host of other rallies, and competed in the Lombard RAC and won that as well, and the list goes on. But 2 incredible men of speed here talking about old days and wonderful memories that they have. It really was a very special occasion. Jackie Stewart told us that Jim Clark was a very reserved man and probably wouldn't want all the kind of fuss that's been made about him in this incredible new museum. But this picture, I think, sums up so much as he was being congratulated and made a Freeman of Duns from winning his World Championship. And you can see him there looking kind of just very calm and just taking everything in and keeping to himself in this amazing picture that's at the museum. But really, this shows you the kind of personality that he had and how it was not really the same kind of social impressions as what we have to do today or what the big racing drivers do today. When really, it's so true. There was a Scottish Borders farmer who probably would have returned to farming after his Formula One career because that was the thing he loved the most. And certainly Jackie Stewart learned so much from Jim Clark in his interview. It really was quite special, and it was an amazing day, I have to say, absolutely fantastic day. And I recommend it to all of our viewers and listeners. If you're visiting Scotland, come to Duns and come to the Jim Clark Museum. It will be a day that you'll really enjoy, and I'm sure the museum will give you a wonderful vision of really what Jim Clark was like and the memory and what we can do here in the future as well regarding motorsport. We certainly have it. It's in the blood of all those who live in the borders. But to end, we have a funny little clip of someone who looks dramatically and incredibly like Jim Clark. See what you think and give us an email. Do you think this is a long-lost Jim Clark? My goodness. You can email us on podcast@cardioadvisor.co.uk or info@hughhattrick.com, whatever you prefer, and give us your thoughts and comments. And remember, you can catch the video on YouTube. It's on the under Hugh Hattrick. We also have our video channels of Hattrick's Orlando Guide. and Cardio Advisor. And there's lots of videos there being launched. Every week we'll do a new one. And we have the podcasts as well on Podbean. But if you listen to them on Podcoin, then you'll actually be paid to listen to my voice and any other podcast that you would like to listen to too. So it's well worth looking them up under Podcoin on Google, and you'll get the details, or look in the description. And I will give you a special link which gives you an extra 300 credits to join up with Podcoin straight away. But thanks for watching and listening, and I'll put you on to the next clip, and we'll see you in the next show. And here we have what we thought looked an incredible lookalike of Jim Clark. Now, I don't know who this person is. If you're watching, we thought if we put you in a Jim Clark race suit, my goodness, it would be just like watching the real thing or watching a movie. So yes, here we are, an incredible lookalike of Jim Clark here on the day that the Jim Clark Museum is officially opened.